The opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. The following program is sponsored by Wade's RV. This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk, your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG or text us at 95920. Now, let's hit the road.
It's unfortunate, and I know a lot of us are really sick of it. I certainly am. I feel completely cooped up. Willy D has the right idea, though, because last week when we had him on the show, he was camping. And Willy D, I'm pretty sure you're doing the same thing today, aren't you?
You're exactly right. I mean, who would have guessed? I'm out camping again. I've kind of come to the realization that I'm addicted to camping, and right now I'm getting to live it out 110%. So this week I'm actually out at Sequoyah State Park. I'm having a great time out here. Last week I was out at Hogan's Off-Road Park. And if you want to hear a little bit more about what I was doing out there, I've actually put a couple of videos out talking about kind of my journey out there. A lot of the times whenever people are thinking about RVing, they think about the destination. But whenever you're actually traveling in the RV, it's about the experience. It's about the journey. So it's not necessarily just about the destination. And with that, you know, I kind of posted about the road trip. I posted whenever we got out there. And I got a really cool interview with Hogan himself. And I put all that stuff on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So if you want to kind of see what my adventures are, I'm going to be filming this weekend again and having a lot of that footage out so you can kind of live my journey with me while you're cooked. You know, you may be cooped up at the house, but you can kind of, you know, live the outdoor lifestyle through my camera lens, you might say.
Yeah, I think that'll certainly help out. When you told me you were at Sequoyah, I did a quick little Google map, and it's not that far. I just had never looked at it before, and I did a little map from my house here in Broken Arrow, and it's, 35, 40 minutes, so not a bad drive at all.
No, it's not a bad drive at all. And that's what I love is we have so many great local camping destinations that you can, it's just a quick drive. And even if you're looking, if you have, you may not have the RV, but you're wanting to go out and camp, there's lots of different tent spots. You can come out here as well and you just get outdoors. That's the whole thing is a lot of people are getting sick of being cooped up inside. And we really want to promote getting outside and enjoying while social distancing, enjoying nature. And, there's a lot of things you can learn. I've been taking a few of these hikes and there's a lot of different, information on the trails, and it's a good time to really learn, take a step back and kind of relax and unplug a little bit. But
so
yes, it's camping, just right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, it's just right up the road, and there's just so many different campsites just right around town. I mean, the other day, while you can't go there right now with the social distancing, you can't go into the casino necessarily, but I went up to Will Rogers. That's up in Claremore. A lot of people, that's a local spot. A lot of people live in Claremore that are listening. So it might even be in your backyard, but Oklahoma has tons of different destinations. And last week, it was actually, I made a mistake, and I said the state parks were closed. That's not correct at all. I am at a state park, and what's closed is the restroom facilities, and the state parks that I called, they were actually fully booked. So that's why they weren't accepting any more campers. So there are 34 state parks, and they are very close to you. Get out there and enjoy them. Right now is the perfect time.
If you have camping questions, we are here for you. You can text us at 95920. Just whatever you want to say or ask, text that number, 95920, or call 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. And, man, it's just a good time to get a lot of this stuff off your chest. If you have any questions about, like what Willy D was just saying, where you can or can't go and what you should do, he's got all that information. And I know, just through somebody I know, that a lot of people are now going ahead, and a lot of you may have already done this, but for those that haven't, it's a good time to go de-winterize and do that kind of thing, right, Willy D? Because I know a guy who's he keeps his up by a lake up by Grand, and he said we were going to go up this weekend just to find a reason to get out of the house, and so they're going to go do that.
Yes, right now is a great time to de-winterize because we're not seeing a lot of those sub-zero temperatures, as I call them. It's not really sub-zero in Oklahoma, but we're not dropping down below that 32-degree mark. So right now would be a great time to de-winterize or do any sort of maintenance that you're needing to do on your RV. One thing that I noticed was we brought the Palazzo out. I'm staying in the 2013 Palazzo once again. I'm really becoming accustomed to this. I love this thing. It's awesome. It's a great driving experience, and it's just the perfect size. It's about 33 foot long. But whenever we plugged it into water last week, we were getting it de-winterized and, kind of flushing out the system. But what happened was this thing has an inline water filter. And unfortunately, it had some water in there over the winter time, and the previous owner did not winterize it properly, and so it cracked. And so today I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of maintenance. We're going to be replacing that, and I'm actually going to be doing a video on how to do a little bit of how to repair your water lines and how to kind of repair and replace that water filter so people can see and kind of learn. But right now is a great time to do that maintenance, and today is going to be a great day. It's going to be close to 60 degrees, so I would highly encourage, go out, go ahead, run your slide outs out, make sure everything's working properly, and jump in the driver's seat and go on out there and hit the road. It's about turning miles into memories. So going out there and start making some memories for yourself.
I like that. You guys should use that.
It's actually our slogan. So we use it all the time. You'll hear it in all of our commercials. I kind of live it, but it's something that we live every single day at Wade's RV. It's really cool. We talk about, how at Wade's RV, we really live the lifestyle. Right now, I'm able to live the lifestyle a little bit more than normal, and I'm absolutely loving it. But all of the guys that are at work, they all camp, they all go out and do this. Wade is an avid camper. Everyone loves to do this sort of thing, and we actually have group camping trips and go out all the time, and this is just what we live. So we're absolutely turning miles into memories. And the thing is, whenever you're going out, you bring your friends, you bring your family, and you bring them, and they get to experience that stuff with you. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone.
Well, we've got some cool information on the show for you today, and remember to text us at 95920 if you want to add to this or have any questions. But Willy D is going to tell us about some of the technical aspects around RVs, and not just, features and accessories. We do that a lot, and that stuff's really cool. But today we're going to kind of get down to the studs, literally, and talk about how they're built, how they're later destroyed if it's the end of an RV's life. I always wondered about that, and actually, because I'm so weird, one of the things that stresses me out, not daily, but when I think about it, is the number of cars on the planet, and just where are they all going? Not every, you sell your car or your car's done, so they just get stacked up and crushed in a pile somewhere. But RVs, I guess it's a little different. We'll learn about that. And then we'll talk about memories with your family again, and different repairs that may be done and what you can be doing during this time. So before we go to our first break, Willy D, let's talk a little bit about how RVs are built. The only thing I know is that most of them are built in Indiana.
Most of them are built up in Indiana. We do carry idle time, though, which is made in Oklahoma. So that's a little bit of an exception, and it's really cool. So we talk about, being made in America, and that's a really cool fact because most of the RVs that you see on the road, I would say 99% of them were built here in America. Very few are built overseas. But whenever something's built right in your backyard and built here locally, it's something that you can really stand behind. And so we were really happy whenever we acquired idle time. So people can come on and they can, if you want, go on YouTube. We put a great walk around video so you can kind of see what it's about. I love idle time because it has really great equipment, but it doesn't have a whole lot of the extra, fancy trim. It may not have an LED light above the slide out, but guess what? It has a really heavy duty slide out, which to me is really important. And so while a lot of them are built up in Indiana, we do carry the idle time, but most of those are built up in Indiana, and they all go through a very similar process. So it's kind of like a rail track system. Whenever they're building these things, they start out with just a raw frame, and then they start building up past the ground, and it goes in an assembly line. So they push it, down that assembly line, and it's really cool. There's actually a lot of these are built by Amish workers. And so whenever the factories are open, they actually start, really early in the morning at like 2 or 3, and then they'll end very early in the day, obviously. So then the Amish workers can actually go home and tend the farms. But with that, you'll get Amish made cabinetry, and you get really, really high quality product. But what is interesting to me is I was watching a documentary about, how RVs are built and different things. I've been privileged where I can go. I've been up to Indiana and I've been able to see the whole process, but I always like to kind of expand my knowledge base and learn a few different things. But one thing I'd never thought about is these guys that are making these, they don't actually get to use them. And the Amish, culture, they're not using the technology and then the vehicles and stuff like that. So a lot of them, they build these and never get to go out RVing. And so we are really privileged where we can go out and do that sort of thing. But there's two different processes. You have either laminated trailers, or you either have the stick and tin, as they call them, which is 2x4s, and then you have the tin on the exterior, and then it has that Pink Panther insulation. Both are great different units, but it just kind of depends on, where you're going with what kind of unit you want to choose.
I wonder about the Amish building RVs, and it seems like it'd take forever if you don't have a drill. I mean, how do they, what tools do they use?
So Yeah, I guess they are allowed to use the different power tools. It's really interesting. So the first time I went up there, one of the first factory tours I had, I was introduced to a Amish man named Merle, and guess what his job was? He was an electrician. And so that's the last thing that you would think that an Amishman would be doing is doing electrical work. But I guess they can use the power tools whenever they're at the factory. A lot of them are air tools and different things. I'm not sure exactly the different parameters, but they do use them and they go to work and they make great, phenomenal product. And you can see that every day at Wade's RV. If you want, come on in and say, hey, show me one of the RVs that are built by someone that's Amish. And a lot of times you can see that extra step of craftsmanship.
Coming up, we'll talk more about how RVs are destroyed. In fact, I want to learn more about how they're built, too. But they do eventually get destroyed, so Willy D will tell us about that. You can get a hold of Wade's RV, 918-291-1011. They're down the street. It's Highway 75 and 161st Street, or the Service Center at 121st and Highway 75. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. I'm Skyler Cooper. We'll be right back. This is 102.3 KRMG. And he's out at Sequoyah State Park today. Yeah, how is it out there with the crowd? I mean, are people doing that too, or are you kind of alone?
So there is a few different camping spots that are open out here. So if you're thinking about coming out, just come on out and join me. Like I said, I'm in the gold 2013 Palazzo. I'd love to meet you, but there are a few available. But you got to act quickly. I was looking yesterday, and the spots were booking up very fast. So usually you do have to plan a day or two in advance. And with it being the weekend, just look around. If it does say they are booked up, there are a lot of different state parks. Like I said, there are 34 state parks still open, so there are a lot of different camping opportunities. But this is actually the second time that I've been out here to Sequoyah. It was kind of a flashback for me because the very first RV trip I ever took on my own, where I kind of stepped behind the steering wheel and took off, this was actually my first destination, so it was a really big throwback. And it was really cool to come back. This is a great state park itself. It's really clean. They have really great roads, great facilities, and they have great hiking trails and just a lot to do. But one of my great friends, Carlos, he comes out on almost every single one of my camping trips. If I'm not mistaken, he's come on just about every single one of them. But this is actually one of his favorite destinations. So he gave me the idea this week to come on out here, and he wanted to show me, what he loves about it. So I brought him, and he actually is here with me, and I brought him to talk on the show and kind of tell a little bit about the park and what he loves about it himself.
Hey, how's it going, Skyler?
Good. How are you?
So this park right here is absolutely phenomenal. As soon as you turn right on in, they've got all the trees trimmed and everything. So as you're driving your big rig down, they're not scraping the roof, anything like that. Going back on what Willie said, the facilities are phenomenal. We are right actually looking at the water just a couple steps away and also close to the restroom. They've got 7 different big camping spots out here. We are actually in Seminole camping spot right now. And they've got quite a bit out here. They're pretty much all booked up, but I've been coming down here because my mother's from Taylor's Ferry, so I've been coming out here from a kid. I'm probably close up to been out here either for camping or day use.
And Willie D, we do have a couple of questions for you. Texters at 95920. Before the break, we were talking about how RVs are built and different ways to enjoy them out there. So you got a couple questions you want to answer, Willie?
Yeah, come on. I'd love to answer some questions.
I have some information about this one because my boss has an RV, and he tells me that something cool in his, and the reason they really liked it because they take their dogs, and under the fridge is a slide out for the dog bowls.
Yes,
so the question,
that's really cool.
This question is more for cats. So how would you find space or make space for a cat litter box?
Well, I mean, same thing kind of with the dog dish bowl. Each RV is going to have different storage compartments. So, and this one, there's actually a really cool compartment right when you go into the door. It's actually used for a shoe compartment. And so you can just slide a little tab over and you could actually put your shoes in there and you can access it from the exterior of the coach and also the interior of the coach. So if it was me, I would put the litter box in there. That way the cat has a nice spot, and then you can also empty it from the exterior because you're obviously going to have to take it out. But each RV is going to be a little bit different. So you can also customize your RV. The great thing about RVs, I tell people all the time when they're looking at them, is it's kind of a blank slate. We're giving you a blank and open canvas to do whatever you want. The cabinets are here, the fridge is here, the microwave is here, but just like a house, you can decorate it and make it, your own RV. And so you can make things that are specialized to you. So I would just say, look at what, if you're, going to bring your cat with you all the time, whenever you're looking for an RV, look for a compartment that you could pull out and put a litter box, or make sure there's a great spot in the closet, or, just whatever fits your cat. I don't have a cat, so I don't necessarily know what would be best fitting to put a litter box, but there's a lot of different things that you can do.
And before the break, a little earlier, we were talking about how RVs are built, and you were explaining some of that, the way they go up with the walls and everything, and sort of, I know it's built on sort of just a big chassis with some wheels, right? So let's talk about the finishing. Once the frame is there and things are kind of enclosed, how does that finish work go together?
So it is a step-by-step process. So basically they put the frame, then they put the floor, then they put the walls, and then they actually put the cabinetry and stuff that's in the middle, then they put the walls up. And whenever you actually finish with the process, one thing that's really cool is, so we had Rocky from Riverstone on, we have Vibe, we have a couple different Forest River products that are at our dealership. Catalina is one of my favorites that we have as well. They actually go through a 100% PDI process. So what that means is every single one of those units, before it leaves the factory, they actually pressurize the water lines. They actually do different water tests. They put it in like a water containment system, and so it's like basically simulated rain. And so they can do different water tests. They pressurize the actual RV to make sure all the seals are tight, and so they make sure that everything is just fit and finished, not perfectly necessarily, because we are humans, people do make mistakes, but they go through a lot of different inspections to make sure everything's, fixed and finished properly. And then whenever it comes into Wade's RV, we also do a secondary check to make sure everything is going over smooth. But there's a lot of different things that happen to make sure these things come out perfect and looking great. And that's what we're about, is perfection at Wade's RV.
Talking camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG. We'll take a break, check the news at the bottom of the hour and the forecast with Bert Williams. We have more questions. Text us at 95920. We'll answer more of those when we get back. I'm Skyler Cooper with Willy D. This is Camping with Wade's RV, because we are broadcasting remotely due to COVID-19 and all the restrictions that are in place, not only around town, but even at the radio station. A lot of people aren't working in the building, and if you're a Saturday listener only, just know that we're doing this during the week. Like, the whole KRMG Morning News is broadcasting from home. There's one person running the buttons. It's really neat that we can do it, but I also miss everybody, and we miss coming to work. I'm one of those people, Willy D, I think you probably aren't suffering from this the same as me, but I literally just miss driving to work. The only place I've driven in the last 2 weeks is the grocery store and once to the doctor, and it's like I'm stir crazy. So you're getting out and going camping, and I'm sure that helps.
Yes, yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah. And I get to take the road trip. So I'm definitely turning those miles into memories, but it is a little bit different. So with that, I was actually supposed to be up in Indiana. Newmar was having a conference this week to kind of show us all the new and improved. We talked about Newmar and all the cool stuff. Newmar is such a cool company. This week, we have different classes that we take with Newmar to make sure we're, tip top on all the information. But one thing I kind of forgot about was Newmar was the ones that invented the slide out. So people love slide outs, and it's something that a lot of people take for granted, but they're the actual people that invented it. So they were having the video conference. That's how we attended, so we could see all the new and improved. And man, oh man, they are coming out with some cool stuff. One of my favorite things is, if anyone has a gas coach of any brand in the last 20 years, that the steering wheel is the same Ford steering wheel that they've been using since like the early 2000s. And if you've ever used that steering wheel, Skyler, there's about 3 buttons on it: cruise control, turn it on, turn it off, and then, like the resume button. So there's not very much that you can actually do on that. And they actually have come out with a new chassis and a new steering wheel to bring those innovations a little bit more up to date. So I would say it's probably more of a 2013 steering wheel or so, but you can actually, control music, control different things, check fuel diagnostics, a lot of very, very useful information you can access right there on your steering wheel, and it's very accessible and easy to get into. So lots of different cool innovations that they're coming out with. They actually came out with the very first diesel toy hauler Class A. So that's a really super cool innovation, because
Wow.
before, you either had to have a Super C with the toy hauler in the back, or you had to, get a gas rig of some sort. So very, very cool things up and coming with Newmar. And so with the COVID-19, we are definitely, life's changed a little bit. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. But I am very lucky and very privileged to be out here camping right now at Sequoyah State Park. This is a great park, and one of my favorite things about it it has concrete pads, and they have grills, and they have fire pits. So very nice and very accommodating, and it's really easy to set up and get leveled and just get out there and go camping.
You mentioned some videos earlier because you attend via video conference, and you heard Bert in the news say that Zoom is one of those places, or that company that's really having some issues right now. It's a good problem to have for them. Their users have, I don't even want to say doubled or quadrupled because it's way more than that. But
Yeah,
basically,
absolutely.
video stuff is huge right now. And you guys are doing that not only to have your meetings and go to conferences virtually, but you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, and we have a text question for you at 95920. If people want to see your how-to videos and your guidance and your tours of RVs, where do they find that again?
So most of them, I like to put all of them on YouTube. So a little bit more of the lengthy stuff where you may not want to watch it on Facebook. If you're looking for the very in-depth how-to and walk-arounds, go to our YouTube. It's very simple, just Wade's RV, WADES, RV, as in recreational vehicle. And it'll pull right on up, and we have some great videos. This last week, I put out a couple different videos, one featuring Hogan, as I mentioned. So it's kind of the story of how Hogan's Off-Road Park got started and how it was founded, and a little bit about those trails and stuff. He gives a little bit of the history about that, and then also a little bit about my road trip that I took out. And there's lots of great footage, and then there's lots of great walk-around videos as well. So I was talking about the Oklahoma-made RV, the idle time. That was the last full walk-around that I did, so you can go on there, check that out. And then also make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because that's where we put a lot of the day-to-day happenings at Wade's RV. A little bit of a spoiler alert. We have lots of great content coming out. This week, like I said, I'm out here in the 2013 Palazzo, and it is for sale. So if you're interested in it, go online. It's a great value. This thing only has 24,000 miles on it, and it's only $82,000 if I'm not mistaken. So great deal, great value. Check it out online. But I'm going to be putting some videos out this week. For one, like I said, how to fix that water filter, and then also a little bit about the state park itself, some trails and different things you can do out here. So if you're sitting at home and you're cooped up, go on YouTube. I have a lot of great stuff that you can watch to keep yourself entertained.
I like the idea that that is for sale and you're out camping in it right now. So someone's going to come look at it, like it, and want you to hand over the keys, and then you're going to have to Uber home.
Exactly. I love the idea. Come on out here, check out the RV, and I will definitely grab an Uber home. I don't think that'll be one problem at all. Or I might just call Wade and have him come pick me up. You know, it'd be a good surprise for him if I just have a check waiting for him.
Earlier we were talking about the construction process of RVs. Let's talk about the deconstruction, or the destruction, if you will, because I'm assuming this is for maybe parts recycling or just storage, because they're big, and where are you going to put all that stuff? It's not like a car that you crush into a pancake and throw it on a pile. So tell me a couple of things. How do they do that? Why do they do that? And just kind of that process.
So you can't necessarily just crush it like a car, like you said. I mean, these things are 40 up to 45 foot long. They weigh a lot, so it'd be very hard to pick it up. But hey, if you come to Wade's RV, we do have the lift where we can lift these. But you know, it would be pretty hard to crush these. So a lot of times, just like whenever you're using your RV in its actual life, you're having a good time and you're having fun. A lot of times people will actually go to the different scrap yards. There's different scrap yards for RVs. So if, you know, let's say it had water damage or something, a lot of times you can go to a scrap yard and find a engine out of an RV that has very low miles, very high horsepower, different things. Or if you just need parts, you can go there, get parts off of them. That's one way people get rid of RVs. Another way people get rid of RVs is they will go to the scrap yards, or they'll just find RVs that people, you know, have sitting around in their yard, haven't been started up in a while. They'll get them fired up, and then they actually go to demolition derbies. I don't know about you, Skyler, but I love fireworks and I love demolition and different things like that. So I want to go to an RV demolition rally. But that is one thing that I found out they actually do, and it's really popular. I don't know if you would necessarily call it a sport, but it's a huge hobby in a lot of different places.
I guess you do see them sort of reused at monster truck rallies. They use them to crush and run over them.
Yeah, that is one use, but to me, I think I'd rather be behind the wheel and just, you know, ripping and roaring and having a good old time in it. There's lots of different things that you can do, but also if you are looking for parts, that's a great way to get parts, is go to those scrap or salvage yards, and you can find a lot of good, useful equipment there. One thing that we do at Wade's RV is we actually, you know, whenever we're swapping out furniture and stuff, we keep the old furniture. So if someone orders a new couch, we will take that out and then we will actually keep it. And so then we can actually supply other customers with replacement furniture or replacement parts. I've kind of made the joke a couple times. One thing that we have that's a really rare part, but I'm sure someone out there is looking for it, is we have a front door off an American coach. So if you're looking for a front door off an American coach, we have you covered. But we have lots of different parts if you're looking for that, or if you're looking for something very hard to find, give us a call at Wade's RV, because my parts guys, Larry and John, they can find it all. I mean, I've gone to them with some crazy stuff, and they've always performed and always pulled through for me.
That reminds me, you guys do have a wide variety of things because you take trades on anything like mowers and boats and things for RVs. But I'm reminded of maybe a month ago or a little more, you had this just talking about things coming apart and old stuff being destroyed. It reminded me of that old 70s RV you had that was in mint condition. Some of it was redone, some of it was original because it was inside the whole time.
Yes.
Do you still have that thing? What was it?
We don't. It actually is sold. I believe it was last week or the week before with this confinement stuff. My times have kind of been, all out of whack.
Yeah,
but it did leave the last week or two, and it was actually a customer found it from all the way out on the East Coast. So it was a really incredible story. They heard about it and they found it online, and they just came. I mean, they called us right away. They did not want that thing to slip away. Like I said, I was shocked it lasted as long as it did, but they took advantage of that and they came down and they have themselves one of the coolest RVs in my opinion. But we do not have that, but we do have lots of different motorhomes that you can take advantage of and travel trailers. We also, like you were talking about with the trades, we have been taking in different trades. So I believe we have a couple different tow vehicles right now that are for sale. We have a couple different Jeeps. We also have those sport chassis. Those are brand new. You can take advantage of those. We had a brand new 2014 roll onto the lot. But I also have a couple different boats. So if you're a fisherman, fisherwoman, come on out to Wade's RV. I have a pontoon boat and I also have a bass boat. So if you're sitting in your house and you're tired of being cooped up inside, we have more than just RVs at Wade's RV. Come on out. We have it all. If you want a recliner, like I said, we have furniture as well. So we have just about a little bit of everything for everyone.
You said fish a second ago, and that reminds me that you love to give advice on what to take with and eat and cook when you're camping. So when we get back from the break, I want to know what you're doing this week, because we talked last week a little bit about what you were having and what you're going to be doing. I know you're a frozen pizza guy. I'm with you there, but it's a little different when you're camping. So we'll talk about that. And any questions you have, text us at 95920. This is Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper, live with Willy D today. I like to say we're live in studio, but we're not. We're broadcasting remotely. I am in the KRMG Broken Arrow Bureau, which is a really fancy way to say I'm sitting at my kitchen table doing the radio. Willy D is camping at Sequoyah State Park, so he's living up to the lifestyle and probably having a lot more fun than me because, dude, I'm so stir crazy. I think next week I'm going to string an extension cord out to the center of my backyard just so you can hear some birds, and I feel like I'm camping with you.
Well, I think you just need to come on out camping with me. That's the solution right there. But yeah, I am having a great time out here myself. And as always, there's always a few things that you learn along the way. So this week, we were talking about, what kind of food I brought with me. I learned a few interesting lessons this week. So last week, it seems like a very common thing that happens to me is I always forget ketchup. I'm a big ketchup fan whenever I'm cooking hot dogs and brats and different things like that. So if you go to my office, there's like 4 or 5 different ketchup bottles from whenever I get back from the RV trips. I throw them in my office fridge, and then they just sit there. And then whenever I'm packing up, for some reason, I never learn from my mistakes, and I always forget the ketchup. So this week, of course, I forgot the ketchup again. And so I stopped in at QT. Yes, sir.
Hang on one second. I'm just going to warn producer Bryce that the phone lines are about to blow up because are you saying you put ketchup on your hot dogs?
I definitely do put ketchup on my hot dogs. Do you not?
I got to say we are on the opposite side of the fence on this one. It's mustard or bust, bro.
Goodness. Oh, no, I'm totally out. So I'm going to be on the hot dog side. You can be on the mustard side. But, hey, I do have a tip regardless if you are, out camping and you forget the mustard or you do forget the ketchup. Here's the deal. Go into QT, grab yourself a snack. What I did was I grabbed myself a piece of pizza, a nice little hot piece of pizza, and then I grabbed myself 4 ketchup packets. The person at the counter had to think I was crazy. They probably thought I was putting the ketchup on the pizza. But, I had to be a patron, got my pizza, got my little snack. But I did bring some ketchup out to the campsite, and then I'm not going to return with another bottle to once again be forgotten in my fridge. So there was a little lesson of the road this week that I learned right there. And another thing, I went to the store last time and I couldn't find the exact brats I usually get. I'm a big brats guy. I love the bacon and cheddar and the jalapeno cheddar, that sort of stuff. I'm a huge fan for it. But this week they were out of my forsaken bagel bites. So it was a huge, take back for me. And I've kind of had to adapt and overcome. So we were talking about pizza as well. Pizza Lunchables. This is how I've overcome this. I'm not having frozen pizza and I'm not having my bagel bites, but I do have the Lunchables. So if you're looking for a great camping snack, Lunchables is where it's at.
I will tell you, I don't know about you during the week, but for me, for the last 2-3 weeks, I've actually had, it's been a good diet plan because I admittedly eat too much fast food, but I haven't had fast food in weeks, and it's helping.
Yes. Yeah, well, for me, I'm kind of a fan of fast food myself. Being out on the road, it is hard to get into a drive-through with an RV. So I have been eliminating the fast food out of my diet a little bit more, but I can always get my fix at the good old Quick Trip. They always have those big parking lots and stuff. So I have had a little bit of that. But camping out here, I have, I kind of stick on a strict diet of red meat, really. I'm always eating the, hot, not just necessarily hot dogs, but the steaks and different things like that. I love grilling. Actually, whenever we get done with the radio show, I'm going to go light up the fire and get me some steaks going right now.
Hey, we have a couple of questions here and only a few minutes left, so let's roll through these pretty fast.
Absolutely.
Someone says they've got dogs, and so they've always focused on having a truck and then a toy hauler. But they're talking about going to state parks, and there's so much space out there. So they're talking about this text got a little broken up, so I'm sorry if I misinterpret it. But I think what they're saying is they now want to look into more of a fully equipped, like a Class A sort of thing. But he says, you mentioned the one incorporated with a toy hauler, but he says they're all over 40 feet. So is there a suggestion? Is there an alternative?
With that, there are a lot of times you can get the Class C toy haulers if you're not necessarily looking for a Class A. They do have those Class C toy haulers that are more so like 36 to 38 foot. That would be my necessarily solution. I would have to look up to see what the Newmar length is, but I do think it does hit 40 foot. So I would look more so for the Class C option.
That might be good. I'm trying to read this because, again, sometimes when our texts come in, they get broken up. It's just I think he wants to stick with the truck maybe, but wants a toy hauler with a loaded one that's not over 40. So does that exist?
Yeah, they absolutely do make toy haulers that are not 40 foot. So we actually had a really great used torque not too long ago. But yeah, if you come on into Wade's RV, we can get you hooked up. Just come on in, tell us what you're planning on doing, and I'm sure we'll be able to fix a solution for you.
In 10 seconds, can you tell me for this other texter what bumper pull you would recommend under 100,000?
Under 100,000, anyone on my lot you can pick up for under 100,000. So come on out and you just choose whatever you like.
Out of time for the week, Willy D. Enjoy your weekend at Sequoyah State Park. This is Skyler Cooper for Willy D. You've been listening to Camping with Wade's RV. We'll be back next Saturday at noon. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.